Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Dungeons and Dopamine. Dungeons and Dopamine.
That's who we are.
True that. I'm Jess.
And I'm Bre. And this is what happens when you record for 5 hours. And still want to keep going.
And all 5 of those hours have been missing persons.
So much sadness.
But this isn't. This is a bonus episode.
Bonus.
Called Dungeons and Diatribes.
Because Jessica and I need excuses to yell at each other about topics that make us angry.
Yeah. That we usually agree on.
Yeah.
But, like, we still yell at each other.
We're really bad at not agreeing on everything.
I know. It's really a problem.
That's why it can't be Dungeons and Debating.
Mm-mm. It's Dungeons and Diatribes because we're just going to complain.
Bring us in, Jessica. What are we diatribing about?
We are going to kind of talk about the role of women in, like, the world.
Because we do everything?
Yeah. So what brought this on is I was listening to an episode of We Were Told We Should Do a Podcast by the Viva La Dirtly guys.
Who were told they should do a podcast by us.
Exactly. Specifically. And they were talking about, they had it split perfectly down the middle. Well, okay, this doesn't even make sense to say that sentence, but they had 3 guys. And one has kids, one would like kids, and one doesn't want kids at all. They're all 3 married men. And it was a really nice discussion. And so they turned to Ellie, one of the women that work with them, and they asked her how she felt about having kids and how that was going to work out, like, with expectations of women in, like, the workplace and everything. And I started ranting to Ryan. Not that I need to rant to Ryan. I will start this off by saying, like, a lot of what I'm going to say doesn't pertain to my husband at all. He's actually a very equal partner.
Same.
Yeah. And he doesn't hold a lot of these, like, in my opinion, antiquated misogynist.
Yeah, that's the
views.
Word.
So, I ranted at Ryan and I kind of said, like, because women aren't just expected to work and be amazing at their job or jobs, but they're also expected to, like, be the best mom and be a Pinterest mom and have amazing parties and send their kids to school on Spirit Week looking like a literal, like, cut out from the internet. And then we're also, and this was before the holidays, so I was kind of doing a specific holiday rant. We were also expected to have all the Christmas presents under the tree for everybody, including ourselves, or at least make a list for the people around us who...
And our in-laws.
In-laws.
Even though it should not be our responsibility.
And not for everyone, but for the in-laws in some circumstances. You're not going to make them happy no matter what because they don't want you there. You stole their little baby.
My in-laws are also not like that.
No,
thankfully.
you have very good in-laws.
Yes.
And personally, myself, I tried to do gifts for a really long time. My in-laws were really hard to shop for. And I finally said to Ryan, this is too much on my plate. You have to do your own. If you want your mom to have a gift this year, you buy it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Good for you.
And he did. So, and he was like, yeah, you're okay.
Yeah,
whatever
that
you
makes
need.
sense. And not even just, so yes, so there's a ton of expectations, but it doesn't stop, number one. But it's also such random stuff. Like, I did not expect once I got married that I would become the person that my husband's family communicates with.
Right.
If they want to plan something, if they want to set a date for something, if they want us over for dinner, all of a sudden they were texting me.
Yeah.
And, like, I was the only one that could plan anything for our family. And that is a boundary I set. I did put a stop to that because I already do that for all of my family and our lives in general. Plus, I have 2 jobs and all the other stuff. I don't also need to be the one responding when Aunt Susie messages me to ask if we can get together for Connor's birthday.
Right.
No.
Or come over for Sunday dinner, or...
Yeah.
And you would be... And of course, I'm not using you and actually meaning you. But in cases like that, typically, if the wife or the woman says, we can't make it, it's her fault.
Yes.
It is her fault, and she is a bad person because you can't make it.
She is always overscheduling things, and they always have something going on, and
in my case,
never any time for my family.
Yep, they're never here for my family.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I hate that. I hate that we are expected to do everything. The schools expect us to show up.
Oh my gosh.
The schools call us first.
Expectations. How often I've read that even if the dad is the one as the primary contact, whether it's daycare or the schools, it's still always the mom they call.
Have you seen the one where they needed the mom to sign off on something or something, and they kept trying to call her, and the dad would say she cannot sign off on this. Finally, they said, well, we need her to come to the school. And so he went to the school with his wife's urn full of her ashes and said, I don't think she's going to be signing anything.
I don't think you get it.
And he was telling them on the phone, she's passed away. She can't do this. Well, we need her to... You're not listening to me.
Oh, my gosh.
Once again, I say my husband's very good about stuff. But there's still things I catch him occasionally. I'm the one that has to tell him when and if we have plans.
Mm-hmm.
I also can't stand... I mean, malicious compliance is real. Once again, I don't have to keep saying it. Ryan is not malicious compliant. He's not that kind of person. But the other day, and this isn't malicious compliance, I think it's literally something we all do. He walked over to a drawer. We have a set of drawers where we keep like Ziploc bags, zip ties, or not zip ties, twist ties. We've got a bag of random plastic silverware that we sometimes snatch things out of. And he walked over, because it's two different drawers, and said, where are the small Ziploc bags? He was 4 seconds away from opening the two drawers himself and figuring it out. But not only that, he had watched me not 5 minutes before this put them in there. And it was really hard not to snap at him, because even though it was such a petty and dumb little tiny thing, it was like, why do I have to have the mental load of knowing where the bags are? Why is that my mental burden to know where the bags are put?
I sent Zach a meme this week, and I'm gonna find it so that I word it correctly. It says, my wife makes us put $5 in the find jar every time we make her find something we can't locate in the house. After 4 months of savings, today we're going to Disney World.
Exactly. And I've done that. I've walked up to the fridge and said, where's the ketchup? And it's literally in the door where it always is. And I just say it, I think, because words need to come out of my mouth or something.
Or sometimes I'm like literally blind with what's in front of me.
Yes,
I know
yes.
that the salt is probably on the counter, but for some reason my eyes just can't find it.
Yep. So sometimes I'm like, I can absolutely understand where you're coming from. That doesn't need to be a fight. For some reason, that one just like checked the box of I'm going to annoy you today. And it drove me nuts. But I don't understand how and why women are so expected. And it would... My rant included, not only are we expected to do all of this, but then we are expected to show up and to smile and to look
nice,
pretty and to smell pretty. And our home is expected to be nice. And if it's not, you'll blame me.
And who will get blamed if Carly's hair's not brushed?
Yep, not Ryan.
Or Carly's teeth aren't brushed.
Yep.
Or her outfit doesn't match. If Connor goes to school looking disheveled, nobody is going to say, oh my God, who let you out the door like that?
Yeah.
It's going to be, your mom let you out the door like that?
Why didn't your mom brush your hair today?
Your mom doesn't brush your hair for you? It's... Or all of the spirit days or the class projects.
Yes.
Or the, like, my husband, and again, he is really good at most of these things, but he never thinks oh, we have an assignment coming up that we have to work on in a few weeks because the teacher sent it home a few weeks ahead of time. That is going to be something I have to remember 2 days before it's due to fill out a gratitude jar so my 6-year-old can bring it to school and not read it.
Well, then like Carly has a letters home, and I actually think it's a really great thing. The kids write a letter at school that week. They bring it home. We reply.
Oh, cool.
And I think that's really nice because I think it sums up it's like a diary of their year. And that doesn't bother me at all. But the other day, Ryan saw it on the counter and he was like, don't we have to send this back to school? And I said, yeah, it needs to be written in. And I looked at him and he's like, oh, okay. And he just set it back down.
Okay, you're going to get to that later, right?
Exactly. And I think that even without meaning to, he puts that expectation on my shoulders of, well, you'll take care of that, right?
That's your job, right?
Yeah.
It's administrative, so you should do it.
Exactly. And I do think that in our house, we both work full time, and we both work on the podcast, and we both raise our kid, and we share things 50-50 as much as we can. That should fall on both of us. Right. I shouldn't have to reply every time. For one, it's also for her, for Carly, that shows that he was there and he responded, and and he's not an absent father by any means at all. But
no one has even taught him or ever taught him that it's going to be his responsibility to take care of the kids' school stuff.
Yes.
They just grew up knowing that,
with their moms doing it.
Yeah, mom's going to take care of that. That's what mom does.
Speaking of the moms, he would never understand why it was so important to me when we had family coming over to have the house clean. Because, yeah, my mom might be like, Jessica, you need to clean. Whatever.
Right.
She doesn't care. I mean, if it smelled or if I poop or something on the floor, she'd probably get concerned for me. But she doesn't care if my house is messy. But his mom is going to blame me for having a messy house.
Right.
Again, I'm saying this, but being general.
Yeah. And, again, my in-laws are great. And I know when my mother-in-law said this to me, it was not her intention. And I might have even mentioned it when we talked about how we've let our yard go kind of feral. One of the things she said to me was, I said something about, not really working on my flower gardens because I don't have time to get out there and weed. And she was like, well, you just got to make time to do it. You don't have to do it all at once. You can come out for 10 minutes a day and just pull some weeds. And I said, no, you don't understand. I don't have 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And if I do have 10 minutes a day, I'm going to spend it with Connor. And I'm not going to spend it fighting with him about pulling weeds. Right. But my mother-in-law has never gone to my husband and told him that all he has to do is spend 10 minutes a day picking up weeds.
Right.
Or pulling weeds. She might say, or my father-in-law might say, oh, well, 10 minutes a day in the garage and you'll have it all cleaned out. Or 10 minutes a day on the car maintenance and you'll have it all taken care of. But nobody would tell him he just needs to take 10 minutes a day to weed the flower bed.
Exactly. I think I was going with this a little while ago and got totally discombobulated in my brain. Even families where maybe the mom or the dad is a stay-at-home parent, I still think you can put all of that parenting and all that responsibility on them.
No.
Because
kids are hard.
And it's such a... Okay, so Ryan loves building computers. I would never presume to straighten up his computer parts. Because do you know what would happen? For one, computer parts, if you set them down the wrong way, if you set them down on their pins or whatever, you can break them and they will never work again. And I might have just ruined a $1,000 piece of crap.
Yes, or whatever.
Near a magnet. I could screw up something that he's been working on for a really long time. So if my house is spotless, but he has decided to take over my kitchen table with computer, I can't fix that.
Right.
So if you came over and you said, Jessica, your house looks almost good, but if you spent 10 minutes a day cleaning off that table.
If you just spent 10 minutes on your clutter,
I would be like, that's great for you, but I can't touch that.
Yeah.
And it's
not your responsibility.
exactly.
It is not your responsibility to ensure your house is clean.
No.
It is a family responsibility. But you're right. No one is ever going to look in your house and be like, gosh, why doesn't Ryan do better at this?
Yes.
They're going to say, gosh, Jessica must be really busy right
she
now.
Is really
she obviously
slacking.
didn't have time to clean her house before we came over.
I was thinking the other day, because I was thinking about this and I was thinking about talking about it, and I was like, I'm even really bad about this. Because I thought, like, for a good example, if it was Carly's birthday and you showed up without a present for Carly's birthday, I would put that on your shoulders. That would be, well, Bre must not have had time, or I can't believe Bre forgot that.
Mm-hmm.
Not Zach.
How did Bre forget my daughter's birthday?
Exactly. She's here every week. She knew all about the party. But I wouldn't put it on Zach.
We do it to ourselves. My husband does probably 75% of our cooking, and he does literally all of our dishes. I have a sensory issue with dishes, but I do all of our laundry, 100%. But guess who was still doing all of the grocery shopping until recently?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that I'm not the one cooking. I'm not the one choosing the meals. It somehow still fell to me. And we order our groceries most of the time through Shipt or Instacart or whatever.
So it wasn't even a matter of making time and getting at the store.
But I was still the one with the apps, and I was the one with the sign-ins, and I'm the one that knows what groceries we buy and how often we need peanut butter and how often we buy this.
And that Connor can't bring anything with nuts to school.
Yeah.
And
even when we had the conversation, and I don't leave my neighborhood half the time and if I do, I'm out showing a house. My husband, every day, he goes to work every day. He's in different parts of town every day, but he is always in one particular area, and there is a grocery store on his way home. And we still never thought, Zach should be taking care of the groceries.
Right.
And even when we did have the conversation, we still never enforced it. Or had the conversation like, okay, here's a list of the things we buy. Here are the logins for these apps. Here is how you use these reward points or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
The only way it got done is if I took the step to sit my husband down and log him into everything and talk him through everything. He never even it never crossed his mind to be like, I'm taking over the groceries. I need to ask about these things.
But then on the other hand, too, if you drove past our house and the yard was really long, you'd probably say, gosh, Ryan. Well, I know you guys wouldn't say. I know.
Ryan's
There's so many
awful.
disclaimers of this because you guys aren't like that either. But people would say, Ryan really needs to get out there and get that lawn mowed.
Oh, yeah.
When I went through a divorce and I wanted to learn how to function on my own, I made Ryan show me how to mow the lawn because I wanted to know. And then we would share that task. Now I have a problem with my shoulder, and the rumbling even of the riding lawnmower agitates it. And so now I cannot. But that still doesn't mean it's Ryan's fault. And also I shouldn't have to remind him either.
Right.
A lot of TikTok this year. I saw, once again, holidays. We're just getting off of them. I saw a lot of fill your wife's stocking.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because the wife, the mom, is buying presents for the whole family, even the dog. And you can't fill her stocking. And then a lot of these men would laugh.
Oh, I forgot.
I wonder why yours is empty. Or say, well, why didn't you give me a list? Or what do you want?
You didn't tell me what to put in your stocking. I don't know what goes in stockings.
I saw some great videos of women saying, go to your wife's nightstand and look at the lotion on it and go buy one of those. And open up her purse and look at the chapstick in it and go buy 3 of those.
And beyond that, you've been receiving stockings your whole life. What do men get in their stockings? So sure, maybe it's cologne and aftershave and deodorant and underwear and socks and candy. All of those things can be bought for women too. And if you don't know what brand your wife likes, you can find it in your house.
Exactly.
She's not hiding it.
It's not a mystery. She doesn't need to tell you.
No, it's there. You can find out.
I'm an avid Burt's Bee user, and I can guarantee you, even
Which
if
I
I
would
had
know.
if I had 12 Burt's Bees already, I would take more of them because I will inevitably lose all 12 of those before. I've never finished a tube of birds.
No one has ever finished a tube of chapstick in general, or lotion, or toothpaste.
They get lost. You lose them. And I would even be excited about like travel stuff and like travel sized shampoos and stuff if they matched my brand and showed that he looked at it. I mean, once again, Ryan and I have been doing stockings a long time. We even challenge each other sometimes and give it themes or say dollar store only and like just go have fun with it. But it's not about her making a list for you. It's not about adding to her mental load because it's a big load already.
And not only that, we have so many connections nowadays.
Yes.
Like, if Zach didn't know what to buy me or didn't have any ideas, not only could he probably go to my social media to find out, but he could go to my social media and message my best friend and ask her what I like.
What would she like?
What does she eat every time you guys record again?
Exactly.
Like, did you happen to notice what chapstick she's using these days? Or has she mentioned anything? Where do you guys go for lunch so I can buy a gift certificate so you guys can go to lunch together?
Exactly.
It's so easy.
And you know what? If you feel like being kind of like quick and easy about it, go literally buy $100 gift card from like Barnes & Noble or Ulta or somewhere where you've seen her shop before. Look at your bank statements.
Right.
And put it in there and say, ha ha ha, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what makeup you're needing or what books you're currently reading or if the series is over. I want you to go buy them. Or make it a date. Put a $100 card in there and then put a piece of paper that says a date. Literally a date. And then put a piece of paper in there that says a restaurant. And she will pull that stuff out and you will have a date night and a stocking.
And she will think you're the greatest.
Yep.
So when you guys go on trips, whose responsibility is it to do the child care and the dog care?
Mine.
Yep.
I have always been the one to contact. So let's use New York as an example. First thing I did was call my mom to make sure that it was going to work, that she would have my kid for longer than she's ever had her before, which was a full week. I will say that if Ryan had the option, I would have made him do it. But
right, it's a little bit different with your guys' family.
I've got a skewed example here. But also, I was the one that called and made plans for our dogs. I have told him to call and make plans. Like, we have a member of his family who comes and takes care of our old lady dog because she's not comfortable at Dog Star, or she's not comfortable at the kennel or even at the vets anymore.
Right.
And then we have a cat. So it works really nicely for her to be able to come and take care of those two animals. Plus, she's in her teenage years, and it's great for her to be at our house and not anywhere else anyway.
Right.
So, but I have to tell him to call her or text her or whatever.
Does he ever, and I don't want to sound like I'm bashing Ryan.
Of course.
Again, these are all things Zach does.
Right.
Does Ryan ever plan any vacations?
I don't think he's ever once planned a vacation.
It is always my idea to go on vacation. Or even if it's not, it is my job to find the hotel, figure out the transportation, decide what we're doing, where we're staying, who's watching the kid, who's watching the dogs, how that's all being paid for.
Right.
All of it. And no, I can't. Like, maybe it's because I'm kind of a control freak and I enjoy that type of stuff. But no, it's just because that's the expectation. If it's going to get done, I'm going to have to do it. And I don't want to fault my husband for that.
Of course. Have you ever told him you wanted him to? You know, I've never never told Ryan, hey,
this is your responsibility. You
should plan our next family vacation. And I've never even thought about it.
I have, to an extent, turned over, like, the dog sitting. Unless we do have one very reliable dog sitter right now that happens to be my other best friend's daughter. So it makes sense for me to reach out to her because she would probably be a little uncomfortable if my husband suddenly started texting her about spending the night at our house.
Rightly so.
But if I can't get her, I lay it right on Zach. I tried my one resource. It's up to you now. You have to figure out the dogs. Otherwise, we can't go.
And there have been a lot of things that I've said, like, I don't have time or energy to call on this. You need to call and get it taken care of. He takes care of scheduling Carly's dentist visits.
Ooh.
I have taken over a few other things because I work from home, and so hour-wise, when he would get out of work, sometimes he couldn't get a hold of people. Mm-hmm. Well, I was at home, and I decided I was going to take a lunch at 12:30, and I was able to make that phone call, so it's fine. So that, we change it, though. We change it around who's available, and, yeah, that's really interesting.
Do you find yourself... out of not necessarily spite, but because maybe the mental load, do you find yourself like, nope, that's a Ryan job. I'm not even going to do it.
Occasionally.
That's something he should be taking care of. I'm not.
Yep.
I do it with my car.
Sure.
So we do winter tires, regular tires, and I know I need to put winter. Well, apparently we're never going to get a winter, but I should have winter tires on my car right now. And we use a shop that's right around the corner from where we live and from where I work. And I know these people will literally drive to my work and pick up my car and bring it to their garage and switch out the tires and then bring me my car back. Do you think I call them? Absolutely not. Mm-mm. Because it has to do with my car. That is Zach's job. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have to do the switcheroo and the keys and like stop my day at work. I make Zach deal with that 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, though. I do think there are ways for us to manage at least our own personal relationships and personal lives with it. I know we can't control what Aunt Susie's going to think about it. Mm-hmm. We can't control what, Granny Smith is gonna think about it.
She's so picky, her and her apples.
But I do like the idea of maybe sitting down with your partner, maybe making a list first of your duties and theirs, and you'd have to be reasonable, I think, and list them out and say, I need help. My mental load can't bear anymore, and I'm drowning, and I can't take the expectations of people on us, and I need help.
And we're not told to do that ahead of marriage. Like,
no.
Now we at least live in a day and age now where we're encouraged to have conversations about, do you want kids?
Yes. And how do you want to raise them? That was something that I had a conversation about.
Religion. Are you going to be religious? What religion are they going to be brought up in? How do you feel about childcare? Do you want to be a stay-at-home mom? Do you want to be a stay-at-home dad? Like, we had those conversations.
Yep.
We've even had the scary, end of life conversations.
Sure.
Do you want to be on life support? Do you want me to pull the plug? What do you want? How do you want to be buried? Do you want to be made into a tree? But nobody ever tells you to have the conversation. Who's going to stay home from work when the kid is sick?
Or are we splitting everything 50-50? And to me, 50-50 is so bogus. Mm-hmm. We might have talked about this before on the podcast, but I am a firm believer in your relationship is at whatever percentage it can handle at the time, which might mean that you can do 20% right now and I do the other 80%. Or we figure out what 10% can go away because neither of us can handle it at that moment. But you're right. We never had
the conversation about school parties.
Right.
Do you expect me to be the type of mom that is going to have cookies for the class parties and remember to buy the kids' teacher a present and make something for the bus driver every year?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be the type of dad that cares about that and sits down and does the projects with him? we didn't talk about any of that.
Right.
And I think there was some confusion on my husband's part when we had a kid in school. I think there was some expectation on his part that I was going to be a mom like his mom was.
Right.
Because by the time Zach was old enough to remember what was going on, his mom had quit her job and was staying home full time, or was like watching kids. And so she was always with her kids. She was doing projects. She still does it with Connor. It's great. My mom wasn't like that.
Right.
And I'm not like that.
My mom worked full time, and she would take us to the movies and do so much great stuff with us. But for one, my mom also couldn't braid my hair to save her life. Like, not that she didn't want to, but she couldn't. And she was just telling me the other day, because I did a really fun thing for Carly's hair for school, for Christmas hair. And she was like, I used to dread when you would come and ask me to do something with your hair, because I would yell, well, do it like Aunt Pam does it. Well, Aunt Pam's not here, and I can hardly braid it, okay? You can have a pony that's going to fall out in an hour.
That's all I got for you, okay?
And that's what it was. I mean, it couldn't change that. So
you didn't grow up, same. I didn't know how to do hair.
Not a clue.
Luckily, I didn't have a boy. Or I had a boy, so I don't really need to know how to do hair. Well, and
I did in high school. I learned more because I wanted to do my hair like that. And I also, big disclaimer, I guess, to say is if you enjoy being that Pinterest mom.
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
Do it.
I do. I like it.
Congratulations.
I don't always do it. I won't do an elf. I've never done the the powder on the floor where you make footprints.
Hoof prints in the yard.
Exactly. Yeah. But Santa came this year. Carly wrote him a note. We left cookies and milk, and he ripped open the bag of carrots that was in the fridge, and he left the butt end of one with the plate of cookies, which had crumbs, and the empty cup of milk.
Yep.
We did that. We did, I love doing the hair and stuff for the school stuff. I'm not going to fault any parent who doesn't do it.
And we might, we did a really cool, we had to design an ornament for, a library contest last year. And it happened to be a night that I had some extra free time. I happened to have everything on hand to make it. He picked a really cool character. And we won the contest. He got, a cool poster or something.
Aww.
But he's also come home with things from art class that are write this down for 20 days in a row, and I outright no, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Or sorry if that makes me a bad. And Zach is kind of well, shouldn't we? I'm you know what?
If we
that is an expectation on me as a
done.
parent that I can't do. It's not in my wheelhouse. It's not something that I can do easily, and I don't have the mental capacity right now to do it.
So yeah, I like that though that you mentioned that we don't talk about it before marriage, because maybe that's something we should. As a group, there are men who do expect you to stay at home and keep the house clean and keep the children tidy and do their school stuff and take them to their appointments. And he comes home at night to a meal, and the family sits together and has a meal, and then maybe he does bedtime. Maybe his dad did bedtime. Maybe he doesn't do bedtime. Maybe he has you do it all. That's something that's really important to know. What is your lifestyle? What are you going to do? And how messy is it okay? How comfortable are you with 3-day-old dishes in the sink?
Do you like birthday parties that are simple, a birthday cake from the grocery store and eight friends and some squirt guns? Or do you want a full theme, everything matches, there's a cool gift bag to give to each kid, and a character shows up?
Yeah.
Because I am one type of parent, and I am not the other type of that parent. And if that's what my husband had expected, because maybe that was what he had grown up with.
Right.
It might have been an issue.
And I am the opposite of you, whereas I like the big themey stuff. I like it though. I don't like it because anybody expects me to do it. I love planning and executing that kind of stuff.
The same with what you do with your house, with your bathroom and your kitchen.
Yes.
You finding the things that go with it. And sure, I love all of that too, but I don't like to spend money on it. I don't, and it wasn't how I grew up.
Exactly.
Our birthday, I was born in June. My birthday party was the end of the school year every year. Like, that's how we celebrate it. Here's a cake. Your friends are excited. They don't have to go to school anymore. Cool. See you later.
Yep. Your friend Jessica's going to come over and get sick and sleep with your stuffed off elephant. But yeah, I mean, and so my expectation to Ryan would have been, hey, I'm probably going to drop a couple $100 on just the theme for this party. Your kid's still going to need a present. And I'm going to need 4 days before and 3 days after to plan, execute, and then relax from.
And then recover.
And during those 4 days, I might be a nightmare. I'm usually not. I've usually gotten it down to the point where I'm okay. But, I mean, that's what we should have talked about. But no one should expect that from me either.
Agreed.
Just bringing it back. I think it's important, to talk that out so that our husbands, our boyfriends, expectations, our partners, expectations of us are realistic and manageable for who we are. And if Ryan expected those big parties for our kid and I hated them, where could we meet in the middle? Right. Is he willing to plan those parties?
Is he going to sit down and get on the computer and order the things and invite the people and make the Facebook event and make sure the house is clean and make sure it's decorated?
Or because maybe I don't like people at my house. Maybe I don't have time to keep my house tidy. So is he willing to then pay for that party to be at the mall fun zone place? Are they expecting
holidays?
Yes.
So are you the type of person who wants to go all out for holidays and, decorate everything to the nines and buy all the presents and wrap them all really well and put the pretty bows on and do all, the picture perfect holiday? Or are you going to be okay with going present shopping with me a week before Christmas and hoping we find everything we need, or making do with what we find and then kind of flying by the seat of our pants for the holiday?
Yep.
If holidays are important to you, if you had a mom that had a house that was beautifully decorated and you had the whole family over and, there were place settings and table cards, you're going to have different expectations than somebody who just tried to survive the holidays growing up.
Yeah, that's such an important, you're right, such an important thing. And I think that's where we should start with our expectation. I think as people, all of us, I mean, just like I said earlier, I realize I have those expectations. And it's really important that we stop putting those expectations on one person or another, and stop blaming. It's not the woman's fault if the house is messy.
And set your boundaries with your partner in a respectful way. So telling my husband, you know what, planning a vacation is stressful enough. I need someone to help me figure out where the dogs are going to go.
And pack?
Yeah, and I need you to pack yourself. I need you to help me get everything ready for Connor. I'll take care of his clothes. You take care of his toys. Another thing, I set a boundary on money.
Yeah.
I am the financial person. I've had all the admin jobs. It's always been my responsibility, but then it also became my responsibility to say no.
And made you the bad guy.
Yeah. And until I changed that expectation and told my husband that I needed help and that was part of the mental load, he didn't understand what it was like to have to be the person that says no all the time, that reels people in all the time and puts a stomp on the fun. So sharing that with him really changed how he feels about money, how he spends our money, but also our relationship, because he did have some
resentment
that I was always telling him no, and he didn't understand because he didn't know where the money was going or how it was being spent.
Well, why can't we do this? I make a lot of money. Why can't we do this? Well, you remember last month when the pipes exploded and we had to get them fixed? Or
do you remember that we have propane and we're going to have a $700 propane bill coming up in the next couple weeks? We can't just go out and buy your smoker because we have $700 sitting in the account. That expectation was hard to break, but has really been helpful in our marriage.
And I think the other thing that's super helpful is pointing out gently, always gently, because you're just going to create more harm than doing any good. Always gently pointing out when those things happen.
Mm-hmm.
When Ryan asked me where the bags were, I should have said, hey, that's one of those things that you're standing right here. You could have looked and figured that out, and I shouldn't have to tell you.
You could have taken the extra step to open another drawer.
You just added that on top of my mental load.
Mm-hmm.
Please be careful about that. I snapped at him. I snipped at him. We didn't fight or anything, but I was like, just open your eyes and look. Like, and that's how I felt, and that's what he should have done.
Right.
But I did not need to say it. Should not have come out that way. But at that point, it was near the holidays, and even though it's low key, I still had so much to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's...
You live in the same house.
Exactly.
Why do I know where everything goes and you don't? Or if you don't know where it goes, pick a place for it.
Right.
Like, again, my husband does all of our dishes, but I'm still the one that organizes the cupboards. And for a while, I thought it was hilarious. Like, he just puts things places. And then I got frustrated by it. Like,
the day you're
how
looking
does
for the
he
cookie
not,
sheet.
Yeah, how does he not know where this stuff goes? But then it turned into, why am I the one organizing the cupboards when he's the one doing the cooking and he's the one doing the dishes and he's the one unloading the dishwasher? Why does it matter where I think the measuring cups should go? If he wants to put them in this stupid drawer, they can go in that stupid drawer.
Exactly, as long as they're not hurting anybody.
It's a wrong decision, but I'll let it slide, I guess.
As long as you don't have a toddler and you have the knives stored in, on the floor. Like,
right.
Who cares? And I think that's like our first steps into beating this whole thing down to just drop expectations.
And drop your expectations, but also drop your expectations that you have on your friends, because you're right.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as being like, well, these expectations shouldn't be on me. I mean, we're fighting against decades of institutionalized
and different
misogyny
lives.
and different parenting skills and different trauma that we all grew up with, and different strengths and weaknesses.
And I can't imagine, like, in our life, having Ryan do 75% of our cooking and all the dishes wouldn't work. So to tell you to go, well, no, you tell him you're going to put the dishes wherever you want.
Right.
That's so stupid. I can't tell you that. I don't live your life. It'd be like me telling Zach, no, you make money. You go spend it how you want.
Right. That
no,
must
I
work
don't know
it's how it works in my relationship.
Live.
So that needs to work in your relationship too.
And I think it's like a gentle reprimand to, the mom-in-law comes by, Aunt Susie comes by and says a passive-aggressive comment about how, oh, I've never seen the house this clean when your husband has cleaned it. Happened. Or I guess Jessica's been super busy.
Mm-hmm.
With the gentle, Aunt Susie, we have both been so busy. We like it. We're so comfortable.
Thank you cards.
Yep.
My husband's family does thank you cards like it's their job. My family has never sent a thank you card to anybody in their entire lives. But my husband's family judged me for years that they weren't receiving thank you cards for things, until finally I looked at him and I said, that's not my responsibility. My family doesn't do that. If I receive something from my family, I call them and I say, hey, thanks, that was really nice. Thanks for thinking of me. They don't then expect a card in the mail.
Right.
So if you guys expect that, you need to go tell Zach that you expect that.
That's your family expectations.
He's your family.
That he should know already.
And he's just as able to buy some note cards or get them from his mother, who makes the most beautiful cards, and write a card.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... I remember you telling me about that now, and I completely forgot about it. No, it is, though. Like, just those little things. And I think it's about boundaries and allowing people and what they're going to say and what they're allowed to say. And your partner and you being in the same track and on the same side and communicating. And there was someone who used to make a lot of passive-aggressive comments to me. And I had never told my husband. And eventually, when it finally came out, he was furious at all this stuff that I had been keeping, not from him. I just didn't want to burden him with it.
Right. And
I thought it was stupid, and so I didn't care.
right.
But he was irritated with me, and honestly, rightfully so, that I had just
internalized it.
Yeah.
And allowed it to happen.
Yeah. And maybe it would have changed things, and our lives would have changed a little sooner. Or he could have come and been on my side and said, here you go. This is not what we say to my wife.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how we talk. This is not a joke. That wasn't funny because, this is my responsibility or whatever.
Right. Or she works just as hard as I do. She doesn't have time to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel like we ranted very much.
No. Because we agree on everything. We also do have amazing husbands that even if they have some incorrect expectations, it's not their fault.
Right.
And if I bring something to Zach's attention and tell him, this is I'm overwhelmed, this is why, this is an expectation that's on me that I don't feel is fair, he is great about adjusting to that. One thing we still always, we don't argue about it, but it comes up all the time and it always ends up hurting me, is the work thing. If Connor is sick from school, I am expected to take the time. And it's the logical choice. My husband doesn't get paid if he doesn't work. I have a salary job. I have a flexible job. I can bring Connor to work with me at both jobs. It just makes more sense. But it does still throw a kink in my day every time. It's, I can't bring a sick kid to work all the time. Or if I do, I then have to find stuff for him to do. And if I'm at a busy time of year or things are crazy, it's hard for me to adjust to that. But it never makes sense for me to be like, no, you take the day off.
Yep.
But we've still talked about it, and I've expressed my frustration. And if he can, he will take a day off.
Right.
Oh, it's a light day at work, or hey, let me go to work for a half day. I'll get my stuff done, but I'll come home early and take care of him. Or, I am so sorry that it has to be you today, but let me know how I can help.
Right. Or let me give you a break after you get home because you've had double the mental load now because you've had...
Can I bring you sushi and ice cream on the way home? Like, what can I do to
Just for the record,
help you?
You can always bring sushi home.
Yes. Always. Every day.
I'm going to be stuffed and sick, and you could bring sushi, and I'd be like, that is going to be delicious in a few hours.
I'm still going to eat that.
The childcare we didn't even touch on. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention was for women our age. So right now we're being expected to take care of our kids, take care of our homes, take care of our husbands, take care of our holidays, in-laws,
vacations.
pets. Yep. We're also watching our parents age into ages where they are having like health issues and things where they might need us more often. And that's us too.
Yep. And you have a brother. He would never be expected to take care of your parents as they age. I'm an only child, so my mom is always going to be my responsibility. My brother on my dad's side is probably not going to be the one that steps up when my dad and my stepmom are aging. And even Zach's parents. Yeah. Luckily, he has a brother and sister.
Right.
And they will hopefully share some of the burden. But both his parents have been in serious accidents and have had times in the past where they had to be taken care of. And it did fall to their sister. Yeah. Even though she was the youngest, she was the one that was expected to put her life on hold.
And it's not only that expectation, it's also that emotional load that's on you because like the expectation with our kids is they're always perfect. We also have that emotional thing of them growing up and changing, and sometimes you're battling yourself with like, but I work, but I should just be with them.
I'm missing all this time, but I need to pay the bills, and I feel more validated.
I didn't see their first steps,
better when I have a job that I can go to every day.
It's kind of the same with aging parents. I mean, obviously we're not missing their first steps. That's insane, but
we might miss some of their last things.
Exactly.
It might be the last Christmas where they are mentally able to be as present as they are.
And so you're you're also expected to, even when they're at home and you're taking care of them, you're also expected to go to work and act like that's not happening.
Yeah. And if you need to take care of your parents and your child and your family, don't let that show in your work ethic, because people depend on you at work and you need to be focused.
You got to leave that at
work.
the door.
And nobody gives us leeway for that either.
I had my grandfather die, and I called into work that day. I found out that morning as I was sitting in the parking lot about to walk in. And I called and I said, I'm going to have to take today off. My grandfather passed. We knew he was passing. It was one of those, he was in, the care for a week or whatnot, passing away. It happened. I was told on the phone, you need the whole day. Yeah. And this is not where I work now. This was an old job. My boss, I don't think would literally ever say that to me now. I was asked, you need the whole day. I was administrative. I answered the phones and entered in invoices and stuff.
Yep.
Nothing I did was so important that I should be questioned about why I can't be at work the day my grandfather died.
Yep. Same. Previous job, my grandma died, my nana died, and I told them I was taking the following Monday off, and before I could even get fully done with that, I was being asked when I was going to return because they needed me and I was important. Do you feel like the expectation of your husband being sick versus you being sick is different? Like if you're sick, you're still expected to get the kid off to school and maybe even work from home because you must not be that sick, because women never actually suffer. But if your husband is sick, he should lay in bed all day.
Yeah.
He must be dying.
Absolutely. I will give my husband credit. He's not quite the man baby that a lot of men are. Sorry, men. If you're not, great. But if you are, buck up.
Right?
But yes, 1,000,000%. His work doesn't say, well, how long are you going to be out?
Do you need a whole day off?
Yeah. It's completely understood.
And even from other people, like, if I'm sick, sorry you don't feel good, da-da-da-da, on and on and on. Oh, Zach doesn't feel good? Is he okay? Oh, he's in bed. Like, he must be really sick. It's never, gosh, don't you think you should be in bed? You don't look like you feel well.
Right. My mom, I give her a little credit because she's like, have you called the doctor yet? Have you called that cough hasn't gone away. You need to call the doctor.
My mom's a little bit like that too. But
mom's gonna mom.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, let's stop. Let's stop expecting women to do everything and giving men he's a great dad because he babysits his kids.
Right.
If you say that my husband is babysitting a kid in front of him, his kid, if you tell him he's babysitting, oh, it's so nice that you're babysitting your kid today, he might be internally picturing punching you in the face.
Yeah.
Because he never has babysat his own kid.
I don't babysit my kid. I spend time with them.
Yes, I parent them.
Yeah.
I adult with my child.
I hang out with them. I take them places without mom. Oh my gosh.
They're doing that today.
Yeah. Hopefully they did great.
I mean, so far we
no
haven't
one's
gotten
died
any
yet
SOSs.
that we know of.
They went jumping and they haven't broken legs or anything.
Yeah.
So
Connor's not in the hospital, so
we win.
It must have been a great day.
So I think it's like when you start to think about those expectations that you're putting on other people, that you're putting on yourself, that your partner might be putting on you, pull them back. Pull them back and do still the things you enjoy. If you enjoy the Pinterest mom stuff, absolutely. I love the big birthday parties.
And set your own boundaries.
Yes.
Nobody knows what your breaking point is.
Right.
I had to tell Zach that I have a sensory issue with dishes.
Yep.
And we made a deal. He does all the dishes. I do all the laundry. That's what works for our relationship. Am I still expected to do the dishes by other people in our life? Yes.
Yep.
But my husband and I know that that's my boundary and that's our agreement. My husband, the childcare boundary, that is a conversation we had to have. We had to discuss.
And you still have to have it sometimes. And
even though the school is always going to call me first, I now know that if it was really in a dire situation, I can call my husband and be like, I just can't do it today. It has to be you. And he understands that. He doesn't, oh, it's not my job to watch the sick kid.
Or, oh my gosh, why can't you just do this? You never do this. Come on. This is what
your
you're
work
home
can wait.
for.
My work is more important.
Yes.
But he would never. I mean, unless he was like literally turning the power back on at like a hospital.
Of course. Yeah. You know.
If it was a natural
Fine.
disaster and it was down to who goes to work, Zach or Bre, it would definitely be Zach. He'd be down at the township like, no, I'm solving problems here.
I have to tell someone what this flower is and then boot somebody out of their house.
Yes.
I know that's what you do.
It's way more important than you fixing the electricity for all the surrounding area.
Elderly,
Hospice
adopted
patients.
children.
Exactly. But nobody's going to change these expectations until we start setting these boundaries.
Exactly.
And talking about
And
these things.
changing them for ourselves and being aware.
Mm-hmm.
Being aware that
it's not
you're all
on you.
going to have them, and that's and just stop judging other people. Like,
Yeah.
I can't have the expectations of your household that I have of mine.
Exactly.
So,
And who cares?
right?
Gosh, I don't care how clean your house is as long as like your child is not eating mold.
Exactly. Or as long as it doesn't smell when I get there.
And even then, like, maybe it was a bad day. I don't know.
That's fair, yeah.
You know, maybe your
We used
dog
to have
had
a-
diarrhea and you haven't been able to clean the carpet yet.
We used to have a septic issue.
Yeah.
And you would flush the toilet twice, and then suddenly my whole house would smell like a sewer.
Yeah. Then if I, for some reason, didn't know that, I wouldn't have left your house like, God, Jessica really needs to clean her house. I would have been like, gosh, I wonder what's going on over there.
Right,
Like, I
right.
hope they're okay. Maybe they need help with something. So stop judging others. Stop being assholes.
Set your boundaries.
Set your boundaries. Question the narrative.
Gently boundary with other people.
Mm-hmm. Have conversations with your partner instead of
Have
accusations. Have diatribes with your best friend on a podcast so you just feel better about life in general.
I accept all of this, and I'm going to start questioning the narrative as well.
Same.
Gently.
Gently question the narrative.
Gentle narrative. So this was a great bonus episode.
I think so too.
It was very relaxing.
Yeah, I feel better.
I feel good.
And we would love to hear what you guys think.
We would.
Are you a woman that has set her own boundaries for expectations on that were placed on you? Are you a man that is tired of being told that you babysit your child when you take them out on a Saturday?
Or do you love that sort of typical old school, like the way that it goes?
Yeah.
Where the wife,
Gender roles.
yeah,
That's fine too. We don't.
as long
Kink
as you're communicating.
We don't anything shame unless you're being an asshole.
We asshole shame,
Yes.
but not of actual assholes. If
You do
you're
what you want with that.
Yeah, bleach it.
Just don't be one.
Just keep it clean, please.
Don't stink. And if you do,
Tell us what the problem is
so we
that
can help. Nope, that went off the rails real fast.
This is Dungeons and Dopamine's podcast.
You can listen to us anywhere you stream podcasts.
And on YouTube.
True story.
You can support us on Patreon, www.patreon.com/Dungeons Dopamine. Also, I mean, if you support us on Patreon, you can tell us to stop talking about bleaching buttholes.
Yeah, we would give you that power. You can reach out to us on any of our social media or email us at dungeonsdopamine@yahoo.com.
We are on social media at Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Insta, and Reddit.
And we're edited and published by Argyle Pigeon Productions, who
That's-
does not
Care about buttholes.
or suck at being a husband.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's very good at sharing the roles.
He's a great Argyle pigeon.
Mm-hmm. All right, we love
We're
you.
done. We're tired. We're going to go eat some something.
6 hours of recording, you guys.
Okay, I love you. Bye.